So the next vegetable that I'm going to be sowing is lettuce. A wide spectrum of different sorts of lettuce there are on the market. I'm going to sow 8 different ones. I'm only going to show you 4 because the principle of sowing is exactly the same, whether you're sowing a cos, whether you're sowing a romaine, or whether you're sowing a frill, or whatever kind of lettuce it is, the principle is virtually the same. So basically there's 2 ways that you can sow lettuce. So the first is to sow into a seed tray with cells. The other way that you can do it is to use one of these seed trays. Now you could probably fit nearly all of the 8 different varieties just by filling that full of compost and sowing them across like that and labelling them at the end. So sowing them across, and as I say, labelling them at the top. But then obviously you've got to go through the procedure of pricking them out. So what I'm going to do to save a bit, hopefully save a bit of time, is to sow direct into the seed tray. What I'm going to try and get is 2, maybe 3 at the most, seeds in each cell, and then thin down to 1. So I've got 1 plant left when it comes to planting out of each sort. What I've got is Lolla Rossa, which is obviously a frilly type red lettuce. I've got one that's called Intred. Now I've not grown this one before, so I don't really know what to expect with that one, but I'm going to give that one a try. Got one called Amaze, which again is more like a little gem lettuce. I think it's quite a small one. And then Freckles, which I have grown before, and that's more of a leafy type that you can take off the top leaf, the outer leaves, and just keep picking and going again, sort of a week at a time, and they'll go for sort of 10, 12, 14 weeks maybe, just by taking the outside leaves. You can do it with all of the different sorts. I'm not going to show you how I'm going to plant these ones because they're exactly the same, but I've got a Webb's Wonderful, so that's sort of more like an iceberg type lettuce, a crisp head. Then can't even pronounce this one, a chorito. So I've not a clue on that one because there's no picture, so that one's going to be a wait and see. Then I've got cos, which is a typical cos type lettuce, crispy type one. Again, you can take the outer leaves of that, or you can leave it to heart. And then this one's a marvel of all seasons, marvel of 4 seasons, should I say. And this one has got some red, some yellow, and some green, just to liven up the colours a bit. So with each one, as I say, I'm not going to put them into the green seed tray. I'm going to plant them straight in. So if I show you with the freckle, I have used this one before, and they are really nice, really colourful, sort of red blotches on the leaves, as the name Freckles might suggest. So first thing with any seed packet is trying to get into it. So I've got 4 lots. I've got 8 cells, so that's 2 rows. And these ones are quite unusual because I will show you when I get some out into my hand that they are white. Most lettuce seeds are sort of dark brown or black, but there are some that are white, which helps me because I can see easier when I'm planting where the seeds have gone and how many I've got in each cell. So I say I'm aiming for, ooh, I've got a lot more than 2 in there, got probably 4 or 5. That's not a problem, so I can soon thin them out. and the last one is there. So just put those extra seeds back. The main thing with lettuce is that they do need to be well drained, so that's why potting mix that I've got, as you can see, has got like white bits in it. That's vermiculite, an expanded rock, which basically is heating up to make it really light. It sort of like puffs up, and it has two functions: one to put air into the mixture to stop the soil from getting waterlogged. These are white as well, but also it does have a moisture retention capacity, so it stops the compost from drying out quite as quickly as it might do. But once I've finished, I am going to give these a really good soaking and watering, and hopefully I'll be able to maybe not water them again for some time. Let's have a go with the Lavarosa next. So these do come quite colourful, dark red, which I quite like when you're making a salad. So wrestling the seed packet as usual. There we go. So having said that about lettuce seeds, white again, so it's making me out to be a liar, but never mind. As I said, it is making my life that little bit easier in being able to see how many seeds go into each cell. I think I've got some thinning to do when they start to germinate. So that's that one. Finally, the Inter Red, which open that and see what colour these are. It's just a case of being methodical, being careful, and just not going too mad with your seeds. Just to totally make me out to be a fibber. White again, but that's not a problem. So just aim for 2, getting a few more in. That's not a problem, as I say. I can thin them out to 1 when I've finished. And there we go. That's how to sow lettuce. The only other things to do now is to give them a light dusting. Again, these are tiny little seeds, so they don't need to be covered with hardly any compost. They just need something to cover them. Doesn't matter if the odd one is even not covered. It's better that they're less covered than over covered. It's very difficult to get it precise, but there we go, the last ones, and just give it a tamp down to make sure that the seeds are in contact with the compost. It is quite moist, this compost anyway, so I'm not going to need that much of the water, but I will give them a water. And there we go, 4 lots of lettuce. I'm going to do this exactly the same thing with this seed tray. So as I say, not going to don't need to go through it all again, because the principle is exactly the same whatever type of lettuce that you are sowing. And so all that's left to do is to water and to label. Okay, so the next section of vegetables that I'm going to plant are the section called brassicas. Now, brassicas are basically things like cauliflowers, cabbages and broccoli, but they also cover things like kale. So anything like that all comes under the heading of brassicas, but they're all sort of very similar in the way that they can be sown. So what I've got here is I've got some red Russian kale, which you can plant earlier than such as the Cavolo Nero, the bigger Italian type kale. You can plant this and it doesn't bolt as easy and it doesn't flower. So I'm going to plant some red Russian kale. I've also got a cauliflower and all year round, and I've got Marathon F1 Calabrese, which is the large headed broccoli, and I've got some tender stem type broccoli. So that's 4 different sorts of seeds that I've got to sow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I'm going to put these into the cells.